DevOps automation is not about single values. It's about handling multiple servers, logs, users, and configurations. In this module, we'll learn how Python stores and manages collections of data. Hello everyone, welcome to the Module 3 of Complete Python course 0 to 8. In this module, we will learn lists, tuples, sets, and dictionaries. These are the main data structures of Python programming language. Along with that, we will see list comprehensions, common operations, and methods to work with these data structures. Then we'll cover data handling for automation tasks, and after covering all the basic concepts, at the end, we'll build a log analyzer project using Python data structures. So what are Python data structures? So let's go back to the VS Code and let's create a folder for model 3. Okay, we have created a model 3 folder inside Python complete course. Let's switch to that model 3 folder. The model, let's paste the model 3 content in the txt file. So these are the topics that we are going to cover inside module 3. So far we have stored single values in variables. But in real life, we have multiple servers, multiple log entries, multiple users. And to store and manage this data efficiently, Python provides data structures. So first thing is list. So what is list? List create a list of items. So in general term, list is a collection of items. So in similar way, in Python, list is a collection of item which can include duplicates as well. So it is ordered collection of items. Lists are mutable, which means we can change them at any point of time. So let's try to create one list here. So we'll create a list of servers, and here we'll define web one, web one, web two, web three. So here we have created a list of servers. In order to print this list, you can use print functions, and if you provide list as it is to the print function, then let's see what it prints. So it prints the list as is. If you want to work along with this list items, then you need to use iterable. So in order to access this list, there are various ways. If you want to access a specific element of this particular list, so you just need to pass the indices of this particular element. So let's suppose if you want to access, so indices starts from 0. So this list items indices start from 0. So 0, 1, 2. If you want to access first element, you have to pass the 0 indices in this particular parenthesis. If we try to execute this function now, it will print the first item. Similarly, if you want to print the third item, you need to provide n minus 1 index inside this parenthesis, and it will print the third item. If you give the incorrect value or incorrect index, then it will show the list index is out of range. Okay, so this way you can access the individual element of the list. If you want to modify the item from this particular list, then what you can do is, so let's suppose if I want to change the value of third item to something called as db server db1, then let's see how it prints. And I want to print the third item of this list, which is nothing but db1. So here you can see the list has got changed, and third item of the list has been changed with db1. If we print complete list, here you will see the third value has been changed in the list. Okay. This way you can change the values of list items. Now, if you want to add any new item to the list, then you can add it using append command. So append followed by item. So let's suppose item is equal to input, take input from user. So we will ask user enter new server name, and we'll add this item to the to this particular list of servers. So let's try to execute this program, and the new server name is d1. So here you can see we have got two db1 servers right here. So this indicates that list can have duplicate items, and to avoid this, there is a new data structure that you can use, which is set, where only unique items are allowed. So here we have seen list, adding new item to list, accessing single element, and okay. So in order to print this list with the help of loop, you can use for loop. So for item or for server in servers, what I want print tracking server. So okay. Mm. And and here you can see the list has been printed with the help of for loop. We have accessed all the elements from the list. These are the ways through which we can access the complete list. If you want to do any kind of like automation, then this is the right way to access the list. The next data structure is tuples. So tuple is like a list, but it is immutable, can't be changed. Or right, like a list. So yeah, this is the only difference which we can see. Tuples are immutable and the items cannot be changed. Order the items like a list. So let's suppose if you are working on a automation script, and if you want to define ports for services, in that case you will use tuples because ports are fixed and specific to dedicated services like HTTP will make use of 8080, MongoDB will make use of 27017, and SSH will make use of 22, etc. So these are fixed values, and if you want to access these ports, the approach is same for port. In ports, print port number is 4, and here you can see the tuples values have been printed. Let's try to change the value of ports 0 to something called as 1990. Okay, and let's execute the program. So tuple object does not support item assignment, so these values cannot be changed. If you want to define a list of constants, in that case you can go ahead with tuples. The next one is sets. A set stores only unique values. Duplicates are automatically removed. So no duplicates are removed, only unique values are allowed. So this is very useful when you want to play around with duplicate values. There might be situations where you may need to find the unique instances of logs or unique instances of configurations. In that case, you can make use of sets. And the way to define set is curly braces. Here we are using parentheses for tuples and angular brackets for lists. So for sets, we will use curly braces, and yeah, let's try to define IP addresses. So we don't generally have duplicate IP addresses, and when you need something unique, then in that case you can go ahead with sets. So 192.168.1.1, 192.168.2.2 way you can define the sets with the help of curly braces. Now the next thing is in order how to access these sets. So same way for IP address in IP addresses. So for single for means IP instance in IP addresses, print server IP is an IP address. IP at not IP address, IP instance. Okay. So this will print all the IPs inside this set. Let's print it. I will comment it. We'll comment the previous section of tuples, and yeah. And here you can see all the unique values have been picked up. Now let's try to add same IPs to the list. So IP address dot add. Let's try to print the whole uh, set, and it has shared only a list of items which are unique. Let's try to make this value 4 and see what it prints. So this time it has added the new item to the in the beginning of set. Now, if you are observed, when we add items to the list, it gets added at the end of list. Here you can see, but in case of set, it will get added in the beginning of set. So whenever there is a need of unique IPs or unique users or unique services or unique logs, in that case, you can go ahead with sets. The last and most important dataset in the Python is dictionaries. Mm. And if you learn only one data structure well, make it dictionary. Dictionary is also make use of curly braces, and the items are basically formed in the form of eval pairs. So let's create a dictionary named as server info followed by different items. So what all? So keys are nothing but columns, and values are nothing but the values for that particular column. So let's suppose in server info, what all columns we can define. So we can define server name, then we can define server IP status of that server, and CPU of that server. So server name can be anything. Server name can be web1. Then server IP can be 192.168.1.2. Server status can be running, and CPUs can be a. And if we try to print this, let's try to print this dictionary. So here you can see we have printed this dictionary, and it is printed in the form of key value pairs. Now a dictionary stores data in the key value pairs. This is how APIs, JSON, or configuration basically works. Now if you want to access dictionary values, you can simply provide the indices. So earlier we were providing index values as the numbers of that particular list or set or tuple. But in this case, we need to provide the keys inside this dictionary. So here we have four keys: server name, server IP, status, and CPU. Now if I provide a server name key, then we'll get the server name here. Similarly, we can provide server IP as well, and this way we can get access the access the and this way we can access the elements or values of this particular dictionary. Now let's try to modify the dictionary values. So we just need to copy this server IP and change the value to 192.158.2.2. We need to change the server status from running to uh, deallocated. Okay. Oh, sorry. Server info status to deallocated or stop basically. And we'll also change the CPUs to 16. So we have basically migrated server, and we have increased configurations, and we have stopped that server after the migration. And these are the values which we have modified after the migration. So simply you can print the server info, and you can see the updated configuration right here. So yeah, uh, so let's comment this line, and here you can see server name is has been changed. Server name is as is web1. Server IP has changed to 2.2. Then server info, server status has been changed to stop, and CPU's count has been changed from 8 to 16. So this way we can modify the dictionary. Now, if you want to access the individual key values with the help of iterator, then in that case you need to use key value pair. And yeah, like earlier for list, tuple, and set, we were passing only single value for loop. Like in this case, in the case of set, we have just passed IP instance for IP instance in IP address. So similar way, so we have to pass key value for this dictionary, which is named as server info, and we have to print this server info in the form of key value. So server key is equal to, so server key is nothing but key server value equals value in, okay. So for key value in server info dictionary, server info is the name of our dictionary. We want to print this key and value here, and we are just passing this printing instruction. So let's try to run this program. In the meantime, we'll comment out existing print instructions. Yeah, we are getting some error right here. So what is the error? Key value in server info. Okay. So this variable is the dictionary, and in order to access the items of dictionary, you need to pass the method here. So items is the method you need to pass for dictionaries. And yeah, now here you can see the key name is server name and the value is web1. Key name is server IP, the value is 192 IP. The key name is status, the value is running, and the key name is CPU, value is 8. Now if you just print the keys and value, removing this further comment, removing this printing instructions, it will print simply the key and value. And here you can say server name equals web1, server IP equals IP of that server, status is running, and CPU is 8. Now if we remove the comment for modifying the CPU from 8 to 16, then it will get modified and the same info will get printed right here. And here you can see the CPU count has been changed from 8 to 16. So this way you can modify the dictionary, you can print and access the dictionary, and you can define the dictionary. And with this, we have completed the first point of this particular module. The next point is common operations and methods. This point has also been covered. In order to access the items of dictionary, we have explored items command. And these are the important two, three important functions which we require on a daily basis in order to automate different tasks. Third thing is list comprehension for efficiency and uh, code optimization basically. So if your Python code is taking too much time for the execution, then in that case you can make use of list comprehension that we will explore in this particular point. So let's create one program called as list hyphen comprehension. So list comprehensions allow us to write short and efficient code. How does it affect the normal implementation of list that we will explore in this particular video? So the task is you have got a list of CPU utilization values and you need to calculate what all values are above 80%. So let's suppose the CPU utilization CPU util list looks like 30, 60, 85, 87, 99, 95, 91, 48, 45, 48, etc. And you just need to calculate high CPU uh, usage from this CPU utilization list. So and the threshold threshold is 85%. Okay. So what would be your approach? So CPU for CPU in CPU util, what you will do is you will simply compare if CPU is greater than threshold, we'll simply append it to high CPU list. This way you will find out how many CPU utilizations are there in the higher list. So we'll print the high CPU list and we'll just say high CPU utilizations list is okay. And here simply we'll print this list. But with the help of list comprehension, you don't need to write this much line of code with the help of list comprehension. So let's try to do the same thing with the help of list comprehension. How does this comprehension works? Let's see. For CPU in CPU dot CPU util for CPU in CPU util We'll take this list as is. For CPU in CPU till if CPU is greater than 85, 85, then return CPU. Okay. So this is your return out CPU. This CPU is your return output. This CPU is the item in the for loop. And yeah, and with this only single line, this is the list comprehension where you have basically written all these three line of code in a single line. And if we try to print the same line here once again, it will print the same output. So let's try to run the code, and here you can see it has printed the same output with very efficient way. And if you are working in Python, if you are automating any stuff, then this is the correct way to implement the list comprehension. So let me rephrase this particular logic once again. So you need to define your for loop first. Once you are done with for loop and if condition, whatever output you want to return for this particular condition, you have to return it at the first of this particular bracket or before the for loop. And yeah, you can do this for any kind of like list, and it will work efficiently. And with this, we have also completed the list comprehension part of this particular course. If you have any queries related to anything regarding list comprehension, or if you want more detailed example of this list comprehension, please do let us know, and we'll try to implement the efficient way of list comprehension. Fourth point of this particular model is data handling and for automation tasks. Let's create Python script named as servers.py. Okay, we'll try to implement a list of dictionary in this particular point, data handling for automation tasks. So let's create a list of servers. Here we'll create a list of dictionaries. So we'll create three different servers. So first thing is let's create. So this denotes you are creating a list of dictionaries. Okay, this is second dictionary. This is third dictionary. So dictionary is the item of your list, and will provide name and CPU utilization of that server. So server name equals web one. So this way we have defined the list of dictionary. Here we have combined two data structures, list of dictionary. Now we'll see how we can add, we can access this dictionary. The first thing is this is list. So in order to access list, the for loop can be implemented as for server in servers. Okay, so here we have accessed the list items. Now each list item is nothing but a dictionary itself. So for accessing the dictionary, we need to define for loop, and in order to implement for loop for dictionary, the syntax is for name comma CPU in for name comma CPU in server dot items. Okay. Now we have to print the server name and CPU. So name equals name, CPU utilization equals CPU, and let's try to execute this code. So Python servers dot py, and here name CPU is not defined. So okay, so here we missed to add quotes, double quotes for CPU. Name web. Okay, let's remove these labels. So if we write print, and here you can see we have accessed this complete list with the help of for loops. And yeah, this is all about like list comprehensions, data structures, and common operations with the help of data structures in the Python. Now, if you want to check, now you can also basically perform different operations here. Now you can also perform different operations right here. So uh, if server colon if server CPU is greater than 60%, then print the server name. So server server has high CPU utilization of okay, and you just need to pass the server colon CPU. And let's try to now this will print the server names which is having which is having CPU utilization greater than 60. So it will basically print this okay wave 2 and wave 3. Okay, so yeah, here you can see wave 2 and wave 3 has been printed. Mm, if server for okay, so basically this block is not required here. If you want to process individual items, then in that case you may require this is printing twice because we have defined two loops. And yeah, with one loop we can efficiently work with this particular dictionary, and this way you can handle data inside dictionaries. And yeah, we have covered the most of the sections of this particular module, which includes list, tuples, sets, and dictionaries and their implementation, common operations and methods in these particular data structures, list comprehension for efficiency and code optimization, then data handling for automation tasks, like how efficiently we can handle the data. And the fifth one is to build a log analyzer. So we'll proceed with implementing the log analyzer. So let's create a Python code to implement log analyzer. And log analyzer dot UI. Okay. So this project will simulate a log analyzer. We'll read log entries, store them in a data structure, count errors, and generate summaries for that particular error. We are not creating a production grade script, but yeah, this idea or this concept can be used to create a production grade Python script. So let's begin with defining the logs or what kind of log we need to analyze. We'll define it in the dictionary. So error is full, then we'll info server started. So these are general logs. which we generally see in any of the application or database logs. Error CPU overload. So whenever there is any kind of like CPU overload, we basically see this kind of like errors. Then info backup completed. So these are the basic logs that we generally see. We initially will create error count named variable and we'll assign it value 0, and we'll run the loop on this particular log. Okay. And if there's any error, then what we want is this error count should get increased. Okay. And we'll print the number of errors in the particular log. So yeah, now let's print the total errors in this particular log. Error count. Sorry. So this is the log analyzer script. Here we have created a logs, dummy logs, and we have created one variable named as error count with 0 errors, and we have ran a loop over this particular log, and we have checked each line, and where there is error, we have just increased the count of this particular error count, and we have just printed the total number of counts inside this particular script. And let's try to run this particular script log analyzer. So there are only two error logs in the this particular script. We are pretty much done with the project as well. This is very easy project. I don't think there are any challenges in this particular project. If you have any questions, queries, you can ask in the comments. And yeah, we are done with the section. We are done with the module 3 of this particular series. After this module, you can confidently handle the real world data in Python. This is huge step towards DevOps automation. In the next model, we'll work with files, OS operations, error handling, and logging. And we'll build a backup automation script. Practice today's example. This module is extremely important in Python 0 to Hero series. And thank you for liking this content. See you all in the next one.